Well, for us, if we do business in Europe, we GDPR compliant, right? And that for
Mm,
us, that really focused on, at least the focus for our business was the focus on how we store data, how we collect data, how we process
mhm,
data, and how we can eliminate data if somebody says, hey, here's my information, I want to be deleted. And I
mhm.
remember the joke going around like, okay, somebody comes up and says, here's my email address, I want it deleted. And now you have to keep track of that you did delete it.
Mhm.
But how do you do that?
Yeah.
So sometimes, following the law is very difficult because it doesn't make sense in some aspects. But for
Yeah.
us, PR in the US was all about the processing of data and doing things a certain way.
Mhm.
We already had our TCPA rules as a generic rule. It's been around since like the 90s that we had to follow, that's on certain ways of processing, calls and processing leads. So those
Yeah.
is kept separate. And for us, it also depends on where you're doing business, right? If I'm doing business
Mm.
only 100% in the US, GDPR doesn't affect us because it's not doesn't.
Right.
But because it's potentially possible, we could have somebody from overseas, like our business. We would do business all over the world, so we operate under everyone we could possibly do just to make sure that we don't screw something up. So we try to keep tabs on as much that's going on out there and do things the right way.
Yeah, and it's funny you raised that because with our clients as well, we help quite a few clients in the USA move over into the UK around that data storage, those auto delete functions that we have that correspond to those regulations. We help a lot of USA companies that are maybe doing really good lead gen in the USA. They've got everything in place. They want to expand here into the UK and generate leads in the UK and Europe, but all of their servers maybe currently are in the USA, and they want to make sure that the system that they're storing their lead data in, all of that kind of good stuff, is actually hosted here in the in the EU with those regulations that are around it. So it's interesting to raise that.